The Valkyrie warship descended through Earth's atmosphere like a falling star, its hull screaming against the friction. Commander Jake Morrison watched from the observation deck of the International Defense Station as the alien vessel ignored every warning broadcast humanity had sent. 3 days ago, the Valkyrie Empire had issued their ultimatum: surrender or face annihilation. They claimed dominion over 12 star systems, their warriors unmatched in combat, their technology centuries beyond anything Earth possessed. The message was clear: humanity would kneel or die. Jake pressed his hand against the cold glass, watching the warship's landing struts extend over the Nevada desert. The aliens had chosen their landing zone deliberately. The old military proving grounds, now a diplomatic meeting area. They wanted to make a statement. "Sir, they're disembarking," Lieutenant Amy Parker said from her station, her voice tight with tension. The holographic display showed the Valkyrie soldiers emerging from their ship. They were massive, each one standing over 8 feet tall, their exoskeletons gleaming in the desert sun. The armor moved with perfect precision, augmenting their already formidable strength. These were the warriors who had conquered worlds. General Lisa Crawford stood at the landing zone, flanked by a ceremonial honor guard. The plan was simple: meet them, talk, buy time. Earth's military stood ready, but everyone knew the truth. If it came to war, humanity's chances looked grim. The first Valkyrie warrior stepped forward, his translator device crackling to life. "I am War Leader Thax. Your world now belongs to the Valkyrie Empire. Your soldiers are weak. Your gravity is pathetic. We have tested your atmosphere, your conditions. You are no threat." Lisa kept her expression neutral. "We prefer peace, but we're prepared to defend ourselves." Thax laughed, the sound harsh and metallic through the translator. "Defend? Your world's gravity is barely 1/3 of our homeworld. Your soldiers would collapse under proper weight. We have fought in conditions that would crush your bones to powder." He gestured to his warriors. "We will demonstrate. Send your strongest fighter. Let us show you the futility of resistance." Jake watched from orbit, his jaw clenched. The Valkyrie had no idea what they were walking into. Their arrogance was absolute. They assumed that because Earth's gravity was lower than their homeworld, humans would be weaker. They had spent generations in heavy gravity, building dense bones and powerful muscles, but they had made one critical miscalculation. "General Crawford is signaling," Amy said. "She's accepting their challenge." Jake smiled grimly. The demonstration was about to begin, but not the one the Valkyrie expected. A young Marine stepped forward from the honor guard, Corporal Danny Rodriguez. Average height, average build. Nothing special to look at. The war leader gestured dismissively. "This is your champion? He looks fragile." Danny began removing his weighted training vest, the kind every Earth soldier wore. 50 pounds of extra mass, standard equipment for basic conditioning. The Valkyrie had no idea they were about to learn a terrible lesson about evolution. The desert wind kicked up dust around the two fighters as they faced each other. War Leader Thax stood to the side, his armored form radiating confidence. Around the landing zone, more Valkyrie warriors had gathered, eager to watch their superiority demonstrated. Danny stretched his shoulders, rolling his neck. Without the weighted vest, he felt light, almost like he could float. Every human soldier trained under extra weight, preparing their bodies for combat conditions that might never come. It was standard procedure, born from decades of military science. The Valkyrie champion stepped forward. His name was Corvus, and he moved with the ponderous strength of his species. Even in Earth's lighter gravity, his movements were deliberate, powerful. He outweighed Danny by at least 200 pounds, most of it dense muscle and bone built under crushing gravitational force. "This will be quick," Corvus announced through his translator. "I will try not to kill your warrior." "We need some of you alive to serve the Empire." General Crawford's expression remained stone. She had seen the classified reports, knew what Earth's military scientists had discovered. The Velkari were strong, incredibly so, but strength alone did not win fights. Danny dropped into a ready stance, his movements fluid and fast. The difference was immediately apparent. While Corvus moved with power, Danny moved with speed that seemed almost supernatural in comparison. The Velkari warrior lunged forward, his massive fist driving toward Danny's head. It was a strike that could shatter concrete, backed by muscles built to fight in gravity 3 times Earth's normal. But Danny was already gone, sidestepping with effortless grace. His counterstrike hammered into Corvus's exposed ribs, a perfectly placed blow that would have dropped any human opponent. Corvus barely flinched. His armor absorbed most of the impact, and his dense bone structure shrugged off the rest. He swung again, a backhand that could decapitate. Danny ducked under it, drove 2 more strikes into the warrior's midsection, then danced backward out of range. He was testing, probing, learning his opponent's speed and reactions. "Stand still and fight," Corvus growled, frustration creeping into his voice. But that was the problem. Danny was not going to stand still. He had trained his entire adult life in Earth's gravity, his muscles and reflexes honed for quick, explosive movement. The Velkari warrior, for all his strength, was slow. His dense bones and heavy muscles, perfect for his homeworld, became a liability here. Danny pressed the attack, moving in rapid bursts. 3 strikes to the kidney area, a shin kick that actually made Corvus stumble, then away before the alien could respond. The pattern repeated. Danny was not trying to overpower his opponent. He was wearing him down, striking and moving, never staying in one place long enough to be hit. Corvus's breathing grew labored. His movements became more desperate, less controlled. The lighter gravity that should have made him feel stronger was instead throwing off his balance, his timing. Every punch he threw felt wrong, too fast at the start, his arm extending further than expected. Then Danny saw his opening. Corvus threw a massive overhand strike, putting everything into it. Danny slipped to the side, grabbed the extended arm, and used the warrior's own momentum against him. The throw was textbook judo, and in Earth's lighter gravity, Corvus went flying, his heavy body airborne for a moment before crashing into the ground with bone-jarring force. The impact should not have hurt him. His bones were designed to withstand far greater stress, but he had landed awkwardly, his inner ear still adjusting to Earth's gravity, his spatial awareness completely wrong. Corvus tried to rise, but Danny was already on him, an elbow strike to the helmet's weak point, right where the neck seal connected. The alien's head snapped back. Another strike, this one to the shoulder joint. Then Danny locked in a chokehold, his legs wrapped around the warrior's torso, applying pressure exactly where the armor was thinnest. Corvus struggled, his hands clawing at Danny's arms, but the human's grip was unbreakable, positioned with the precision of years of training. The Velkari warrior's movements grew weaker, slower. His vision darkened. With a final shudder, Corvus went limp. Danny released him immediately, rolling away and coming to his feet in one smooth motion. The Velkari warrior lay unconscious in the dust, his chest rising and falling with labored breaths. Silence fell over the landing zone. The assembled Velkari warriors stared in disbelief. Their champion, one of their finest fighters, had been defeated by a creature they considered weak and fragile. War leader Thax's translator crackled with what could only be rage. "Treachery! Your soldier used technology, enhancement. General Crawford stepped forward, her voice carrying across the desert. Medical scanners are available. Examine him yourself. Corporal Rodriguez is completely unmodified. Standard human, nothing more. Danny stood at attention, not even breathing hard. The fight had lasted less than 3 minutes. Dax's massive hands clenched into fists. Impossible. Our warriors are superior. We have conquered 12 worlds. Worlds with heavy gravity, Lisa said quietly. Tell me, war leader, how many of those worlds had gravity lighter than your homeworld? The silence that followed was answer enough. The Velkari Empire had spread through conquest, always moving to worlds where their natural advantages held. They had never encountered an environment like Earth, where their dense bones and powerful muscles became a curse rather than a blessing. Jake watched from orbit, his mind racing through the implications. If one Marine could defeat their champion, what could a full military force do? The balance of power had just shifted dramatically, and the Velkari were beginning to realize it. War leader Thax was not finished. His pride, and that of his entire species, had been wounded. He turned to his assembled warriors, barking orders in their harsh native language. 12 soldiers stepped forward, their weapons drawn. If one of your warriors can defeat one of ours, then let us see how he fares against many, Thax announced. This is how he conquered the stars. Not through duels, but through overwhelming force. General Crawford's hand moved to her sidearm, but Danny held up a hand, stopping her. Permission to continue, General? Lisa hesitated, then nodded. This was bigger than one Marine's life. The entire planet was watching through broadcast feeds. Humanity needed to send a message, and Danny was volunteering to deliver it. The 12 Velkari warriors spread out in a loose circle around Danny. They moved carefully now, having learned from Carvus's defeat. Their weapons remained holstered. This would be hand-to-hand combat, but with 12 against 1, the outcome seemed inevitable. Danny did not wait for them to attack. He exploded into motion, sprinting directly at the nearest warrior. The alien raised his arms to block, but Danny slid beneath them, his legs sweeping out and catching the warrior behind the knees. In Earth's gravity, the heavy alien toppled like a felled tree. Before the others could react, Danny was moving again. He used the fallen warrior as a springboard, launching himself at the next opponent. His knee caught the alien's square in the chest plate, the impact enhanced by his momentum. The warrior staggered backward into 2 of his companions. The Velkari tried to coordinate, to use their numbers advantage, but coordination required communication, and communication took time. Danny moved faster than they could speak, faster than their heavy bodies could react. He was a blur of motion, striking from unexpected angles. Never were they anticipated. One warrior managed to catch Danny's arm, his grip like iron, but Danny used the hold as an anchor, swinging his body around and delivering a devastating kick to the alien's helmet. The warrior's head snapped to the side, his grip loosening just enough for Danny to break free. Another alien tried to tackle him using his massive bulk as a weapon. Danny rolled with the impact, using the momentum to throw the warrior over his shoulder. The alien crashed into 2 of his fellows, sending all 3 sprawling. The fight became a chaotic melee. The Velkari warriors, so accustomed to their overwhelming strength advantage, found themselves completely outmatched in speed and agility. Their heavy armor, designed to protect them in brutal combat, now slowed them down, made them predictable. Danny's training took over completely. Years of close-quarters combat, of fighting multiple opponents, of turning disadvantages into advantages. Every move was efficient, precise, wasting no energy. He targeted weak points, exploited openings, and used the alien's own mass against them. One by one, the Velkari warriors fell. Some unconscious, others simply unable to continue, their bodies unable to cope with the disorientation of fighting in lighter gravity. Their inner ears betrayed them. Their depth perception was wrong. Their movements too slow or too fast. When the last warrior dropped, Danny stood alone in the center of the circle, surrounded by fallen opponents. His breathing was elevated now, sweat streaming down his face, but he was still standing. 13 Valkyrie warriors defeated by one human. The watching aliens stood in stunned silence. This was not possible. Their warriors were the best in the known galaxy. They had crushed armies, shattered defenses, broken entire civilizations, and now they had been humiliated by a single soldier from a planet they had considered primitive. War leader Thax's translator emitted a sound like grinding metal, rage pure and incandescent. He drew his sidearm, a weapon that could punch through tank armor. Enough of this mockery. If our warriors cannot defeat you in honorable combat, then you will die as the insect you are. The weapon hummed to life, energy coiling around its barrel. Thax aimed directly at Danny's chest. General Crawford moved fast, but not fast enough. Her own weapon was only half drawn when the Valkyrie leader fired. The energy blast never reached Danny. A shimmering barrier materialized in the air, absorbing the shot harmlessly. Around the landing zone, hidden defensive systems activated, weapons that had been camouflaged in the desert rocks and sand. "You fired first," Lisa said coldly. "That makes this self-defense." Dozens of targeting lasers painted the Valkyrie warship and every alien soldier. Human forces emerged from concealment. Weapons trained on the invaders. Fighter jets screamed overhead, appearing from nowhere, their weapons locked on the alien vessel. Jake's voice crackled over the communications system from orbit. "War leader Thax, you are surrounded. Your ship is targeted by orbital defense platforms. Your warriors are outmatched. You have one chance to leave peacefully." Thax looked around, his tactical mind rapidly assessing the situation. His warriors were scattered, disoriented, many still unconscious. His ship was vulnerable. And these humans, these supposedly weak creatures, had proven far more dangerous than any intelligence report had suggested. "This is not over," Thax said, his translator making the words sound like a threat and a promise. "The Valkyrie Empire does not forget. We will return with more ships, more warriors." "You do that," General Crawford replied, "and we'll be waiting. Tell your empire what happened here. Tell them how your finest warriors were defeated by one Marine. Tell them that Earth is not some helpless world waiting to be conquered." The Valkyrie retreated to their ship, carrying their wounded. The vessel lifted off, its engines screaming with barely contained fury. Within minutes, it had cleared the atmosphere, jumping to faster than light speed as soon as it reached safe distance. Danny finally allowed himself to collapse, sitting heavily in the dust. Medics rushed to check him over, but he waved them away. "I'm fine, just tired." General Crawford knelt beside him. "Son, you just changed the course of human history." "Did we win?" Danny asked, his voice hoarse. "The battle, yes," Lisa replied, looking up at the sky where the Valkyrie ship had vanished. "But the war? That's just beginning." 3 weeks later, Jake Morrison stood in the briefing room of the newly expanded International Defense Command. The room was packed with military leaders from every nation on Earth, their faces grim as they reviewed the latest intelligence reports. "The Valkyrie fleet is gathering," Commander Helen Price announced, pulling up a holographic star map. "Our deep space probes detected massive ship movements. They're pulling forces from 3 different sectors. Current estimate is 200 warships, possibly more." The room erupted in worried conversation. 200 ships. Even with Earth's newfound understanding of the Velkari weakness, those were overwhelming numbers. "How long until they arrive?" asked General Crawford, who had been promoted to Supreme Commander of Earth's unified military forces. 6 weeks, maybe 7, Helen replied. "They're being cautious this time, taking a longer route to avoid our early warning systems." Jake pulled up additional data on his tablet. "It's not just the Velkari we need to worry about. The demonstration in Nevada was broadcast across multiple star systems. We've detected communications chatter from at least 5 other alien civilizations. They're all watching to see what happens." "Are any of them friendly?" someone asked. "Unknown," Jake admitted. "But we have to assume they're waiting to see if we survive before making contact. Nobody wants to ally with a losing side." General Crawford stood, commanding the room's attention. "Then we make sure we're not the losing side." "What's the status of our defense preparations?" Reports came in rapid succession. Every nation had mobilized, converting factories to military production. New weapons were being manufactured around the clock. The orbital defense platforms were being upgraded and expanded. Training programs had been accelerated, with millions of new recruits entering service. But everyone in the room knew the truth. Earth's industrial base, impressive by terrestrial standards, was nothing compared to an interstellar empire. The Velkari had resources from multiple star systems, shipyards that had been operating for centuries, technology refined through countless wars. "We need an equalizer," Jake said quietly. "Something they won't expect." A new voice spoke up from the back of the room. Dr. Susan Yang, head of Earth's Advanced Weapons Division, stepped forward. "We might have something. It's experimental, highly dangerous, but if it works, it could change everything." She activated a new hologram, showing a sleek fighter craft unlike anything Earth had produced before. "We call it the Raptor. It's built on a completely different principle than conventional spacecraft. Instead of trying to match alien technology, we focused on what makes humans unique. Our speed and agility," General Crawford said, understanding immediately. "Exactly," Susan continued. "The Raptor is light, fast, and maneuverable. It could pull acceleration forces that would kill a Velkari pilot instantly. Their denser bones and organs can't handle the extreme G-forces. But humans, with our lighter frames, proper equipment, and training, can withstand much higher acceleration." "How many can we build in 6 weeks?" Jake asked. "With every facility working full capacity?" "Maybe 500, Susan admitted. "It's not much against 200 warships." "It's enough to start," General Crawford decided. "What else do we have?" The briefing continued for hours, covering everything from ground force deployments to cyber warfare capabilities. Earth was preparing for total war, throwing every resource, every innovation, every advantage they could muster into the coming fight. As the meeting adjourned, Jake found himself alone with General Crawford. She looked tired, the weight of billions of lives pressing on her shoulders. "Do you think we can win?" Jake asked quietly. Lisa was silent for a long moment. "The Velkari made a mistake. They assumed that because we evolved in lighter gravity, we're weaker. But evolution doesn't work that way. We're not weaker. We're different. Fast where they're strong, agile where they're powerful. In their gravity, we'd be crushed. In ours, they're too slow, too heavy, too rigid. That won't matter if they just bombard us from orbit," Jake pointed out. "Which is why they won't," Lisa replied. "Think about it. They're an empire. Empires need resources, infrastructure, populations to exploit. Destroying Earth from orbit gives them nothing but rubble. They'll have to come down and fight us on our terms, in our gravity. And if they wise up and just move on to easier targets," Lisa smiled grimly, "then we've saved Earth, but proven ourselves a threat. Either way, We forced them to take us seriously. The days of humanity being considered primitive and helpless are over. Over the following weeks, Earth transformed into a fortress world. Cities installed defensive shields and anti-aircraft batteries. Civilians volunteered for militia training in record numbers. The Raptor fighters rolled off assembly lines, their pilots training day and night to master the extreme maneuvers their craft could perform. Scientists worked around the clock, developing new weapons, new strategies. They studied every scrap of data from the Nevada encounter, analyzing Valkyrie physiology, tactical doctrine, equipment weaknesses. The enemy was strong, but not invincible. Deep space monitoring stations detected the Valkyrie fleet's approach with 48 hours to spare. 217 warships moving in a precise formation that spoke of military discipline and overwhelming confidence. Jake stood on the bridge of the newly commissioned defense station Armstrong, named after humanity's first lunar explorer. Around Earth, the orbital platforms hummed with power. In the atmosphere below, fighter wings stood ready. On the ground, millions of soldiers waited at their posts. "All stations report ready," Lieutenant Parker announced. "Sir, incoming transmission from the Valkyrie fleet." "Put it through," Jake ordered. War Leader Thax's face appeared on the main screen, his expression murderous. "Humans of Earth, you humiliated the Valkyrie Empire. For this insult, your world will burn. Surrender now, and we will allow some of you to live as slaves. Resist, and every human will die." General Crawford stepped into view of the transmission. "War Leader Thax, you came to conquer us. You failed. Now you return with an army, and you'll fail again. Earth stands ready. Come test your soldiers' bones against our gravity one more time." Thax's translator emitted a sound like shattering glass. "So be it. Let your planet become a monument to your foolishness." Transmission cut off. Across the fleet, weapons powered up, engines flared. The invasion of Earth had begun. The Valkyrie fleet moved with mechanical precision, descending toward Earth in 3 massive waves. Their strategy was clear: overwhelm the defenses through sheer numbers, establish orbital superiority, then land ground forces to subjugate the population. "First wave entering weapons range," Lieutenant Parker called out. 73 ships, capital class. "All batteries, fire at will," Jake commanded. The orbital platforms opened up, their weapon systems designed specifically to counter Valkyrie shields. Beams of concentrated energy lanced across space while missile salvos streaked toward their targets. The aliens returned fire, and space lit up with the fury of modern warfare. Several human platforms took hits, their shields buckling under sustained bombardment. But the Valkyrie were learning that humanity had made significant improvements since their last visit. The defensive weapons were more powerful, their targeting more accurate. "Launch Raptors," General Crawford ordered from the command center planetside. 500 sleek fighters erupted from concealed launch bays across the planet. They moved like nothing the Valkyrie had ever encountered, accelerating at rates that should have been impossible. Each Raptor pilot was hand-picked, trained to withstand crushing G-forces that would kill or disable heavier species. The fighters hit the Valkyrie formation like a swarm of angry hornets. They were too small to be priority targets for capital ship weapons, too fast to be caught by point defense systems. The Raptor pilots exploited every advantage their human physiology gave them, pulling turns and maneuvers that defied conventional space combat doctrine. Captain Nicole Barnes led her wing straight into the heart of the enemy formation. Her targeting computer screamed warnings as Valkyrie weapons tracked her, but she was already moving, her fighter responding to minute control inputs with perfect precision. She fired a spread of missiles, watched them impact the destroyer's engine section, then banked hard, pulling 8 Gs that pressed her into her seat. Behind her, the destroyer vented atmosphere, its propulsion crippled. 2 more Raptors finished it with focused beam weapons, exploiting the breach her missiles had created. "All wings concentrate on their command ships," Nicole transmitted. "Take out their coordination and they'll fall apart." It was a gamble based on intelligence gathered from the Nevada encounter. The Velkari relied heavily on centralized command structures, their military doctrine built on discipline and following orders. Disrupt that command, and individual ships would falter. The Raptors dove deeper into the enemy formation, targeting communication arrays and command bridges. The Velkari fleet tried to adapt, but their ships were designed for conventional warfare against opponents who fought in predictable patterns. The Raptors fought like their pilots, fast and fluid, never where expected. On the ground, the Velkari landing ships began their descent, bypassing the space battle to deliver ground forces directly. General Crawford had anticipated this. "All ground commanders execute Plan Thunder," she ordered. Across the planet, defensive positions activated, but instead of static fortifications, mobile strike teams deployed. Each unit was equipped with the same weighted training vests that had been removed in Nevada, but now they served a different purpose. The vests contained additional ammunition, medical supplies, and equipment that would burden down heavier species but allowed humans to remain mobile and combat effective. The first Velkari landing ship touched down in the Australian outback. Its ramps dropped, disgorging a company of armored warriors. They expected resistance. What they got was an ambush executed with brutal efficiency. Human soldiers emerged from concealed positions, their movements swift and coordinated. They had studied the Nevada recordings endlessly, analyzed every Valkyrie fighting technique, identified every weakness. Now they put that knowledge to use. The Velkari warriors were formidable, but they were fighting in Earth's gravity against an enemy that knew how to exploit it. Human soldiers used hit-and-run tactics, never engaging in prolonged firefights where Velkari armor could make a difference. They struck from multiple angles, used the terrain, and disappeared before the enemy could respond effectively. Sergeant Kevin Hughes led his squad in a flanking maneuver, using a dry riverbed for cover. His team moved silently, their training taking over. They emerged behind the Velkari position, firing in coordinated bursts that targeted armor joints and vulnerable points. 3 Velkari warriors went down before the others could turn. Kevin's squad was already moving, using smoke grenades and suppressing fire to break contact. The aliens pursued, but in Earth's gravity, weighed down by their own density, they were too slow. Kevin's team led them into a minefield that erupted with devastating effect. Similar scenes played out across every landing zone. The Velkari were learning that controlling orbital space meant nothing if you could not hold ground. And Earth's ground belonged to humanity. In orbit, the battle reached its climax. The Velkari fleet had lost 37 ships, far more than they had anticipated. Their command structure was in chaos, individual captains making independent decisions that led to poor coordination. The Raptors continued their relentless assault, darting between the massive warships like predators hunting prey. War leader Thax, commanding from his flagship, finally understood the truth that should have been obvious from the start. The Velkari Empire had built its power by conquering heavy gravity worlds, where their natural advantages made them unstoppable. But Earth was not a heavy gravity world. Here, every advantage became a weakness. Their strength was burden. Their dense bones were fragile when subjected to unexpected forces. Their combat doctrine was inflexible. "All ships withdraw," Thax ordered, the words tasting like poison. "Fall back to jump distance." The Velkari fleet began its retreat, their discipline keeping them from turning into a rout. The Raptors harassed them all the way to the edge of Earth's gravity well, destroying 3 more ships before finally breaking off. On the ground, the surviving Velkari forces fought desperately to reach their extraction points. Most made it, but hundreds were captured, their armor and weapons seized as spoils of war. When silence finally fell, Earth remained free. The casualties had been significant, but not catastrophic. And the message had been sent across the stars: humanity would not be conquered. Earth was defended by warriors who turned every disadvantage into strength. Jake stood on the observation deck, watching the last Velkari ship jump to faster than light speed. Lieutenant Parker joined him, her expression weary but triumphant. "Sir, we're receiving transmissions from multiple alien civilizations. They want to talk? Establish diplomatic relations?" Jake smiled. "I bet they do. Nothing like beating the galaxy's bullies to make friends." General Crawford's voice came over the communication system. "All forces, stand down from combat alert. Begin recovery operations. And get me aligned to the United Nations. It's time to discuss Earth's place in the galactic community." Below them, the planet spun peacefully in the void. Humanity had been tested, and despite the odds, despite facing an empire that had conquered 12 worlds, they had prevailed. Not through superior technology or ancient wisdom, but through the simple fact of adaptation. Earth's gravity had shaped humanity into something unique, something that no alien conqueror had anticipated. The Velkari had tested Earth's gravity, and their soldiers' bones had broken against human determination, ingenuity, and the simple physics of evolution. The age of humanity standing alone in the cosmos was over. The age of humanity as a galactic power had just begun.